Welcome to Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. It's your host, Hatch, with my boy.
Yes, sir. T.O. is in the house, and we have a nice special guest. We always have special guests.
We always have special guests.
Yeah, but this is very unique in its own right. We have Miss Kate Ferrara in the building.
Welcome to GP Aura.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're welcome.
you guys.
You're welcome. We're talking women in sports today. That's what we're talking.
Women in sports.
Because you know, as male athletes, right? As males in sports, we're always going to look at females saying, "Oh, they don't know and they can't understand," and we're gonna answer all those questions today.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Right?
well, you're going to answer.
Well, yeah,
all
you're gonna your perspective.
You're going to answer all the questions today.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about Kate Ferrara and what you do. I know you have a lot of football clients. Just started your agency. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been a NFL, NBA agent for now 3 years.
And congratulations. We know that's not an easy road to take.
Right.
Thank
Exactly.
you. It is not. I went a little bit around about. I'm a full-time attorney also, so I work for a Fortune 500 law firm full-time, and then kind of moonlight as an agent on the side because it is expensive, as you gentlemen know, to be an agent. So, you know, I wanted to get my own income so I could make the rules, you know. Yeah, so that took a couple years. I've been a lawyer for 9 years now.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Getting old.
We're going up.
And so then I recently started my own agency on the sports side. And have a couple clients, and it's going well. But
what's the name of your agency? So for the people that are
for the people, it's called Playbook Sports.
Okay.
Playbook Sports.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, again, of course, knowing how hard the road is going to be, right? Knowing that it's probably 98% male-dominated, the sports agency. What made you want to take on this role and take on this path?
So I was an athlete myself, as y'all just saw outside with my football and basketball handles. We'll roll the tape back.
Okay. Yeah, please.
What I saw from before, I know you didn't think I was watching. Maybe the basketball, but the football needs a little work.
A little work.
Powder puff. You played powder puff football back in the day?
And I did not.
Okay.
I did not. But no, I played soccer and basketball. Played soccer in college.
Nice. At Akron University.
At Akron,
in Ohio.
in Ohio. Shout out to LeBron.
Okay.
And the Zips.
Okay.
And the zips.
Just a kid from Akron.
We actually play. We play tonight. I think we're catching like 25.5 points. So we'll see how that goes.
Ooh, jeez.
I know. But yeah, so as an athlete, I saw the influence that I had, and as a female athlete, we don't get half the clout that y'all get, right? But even me, if I told people, hey, let's go jump off this bridge at like 7 p.m., they'd be like, cool, like what time, And so I knew I was never going to have that platform myself. So I wanted to work with athletes who would have that platform so I could influence them, who could then influence culture, kids, society as a whole. And so that was the avenue that I went. Right. Plus, I love sports. And so I thought with my background, I love sports. I want to, if you love what you do, it's not work. I wanted to be in a lane that I enjoyed and have an influence that I don't see in my law career or any other career that I envisioned.
Now, when I listen to that, I think more of marketing, right? More of the marketing athletic side. Again, the sports agent side is a total different business, and it's a lot harder business. Why wouldn't you just want to go into marketing? Because that's what that's what everybody's going to push you. Like, oh, let's do marketing, right?
Yeah. So I think an agent relationship comes down to trust. And if you don't trust your agent and you don't build that relationship with your agent, you don't necessarily trust whether it's marketing, whether it's whatever endeavor. You don't trust them as you do your agent, right? Like if you talk to guys and they say, who do you talk to the most? Right. It's their agent. It's not necessarily their marketing agent. And so I wanted to be that person. Like I am very hands-on. I'm super OCD, and I want to be not in control, but I at least want to know everything that's going on. I kind of view myself as my client's quarterback. So anything they want to do, I'm happy to facilitate, but it needs to come through me because, again, I do have the expertise on the legal front. I have the expertise on the sports side. So as long as it comes through me, I'm happy to facilitate and make sure they get the right marketing agent. They get the right financial advisor. But these are all people that I vetted. And I think it's really important. I mean, you don't take advice from somebody who hasn't done it. So if you ask your agent to review a contract and they've never reviewed a contract outside of a football contract, why are you taking their advice?
Right.
If you
So-
ask your agent how to buy a house and they've never bought a house, why are you taking their advice?
Right.
And so I've kind of built my career myself around becoming an expert in my field and getting a team of experts around me so I can help my clients get to the right person and no matter what they need.
So with that being said, obviously when I played, I don't think there were any.
There were female agents. They
Obviously.
they weren't big, and so we didn't
Right,
hear
they
about
weren't
them.
in
But
the-
there were, I'm sure, a couple.
Yeah, they weren't at the forefront.
Right.
So now, like going back, looking on my career, things that have transpired and happened, during my career and since my career has ended, I think today, listening at what you just explained, I would probably lean more toward a female agent for whatever reason.
You wouldn't want him as a client. You don't.
I was a good client, by the way. This is a very unique situation because I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people that are watching this segment and they're like, okay, well, why would I choose a female agent?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's male dominated.
Yeah.
Right.
What is it that you, Kate, or your agency offer to where these guys would be comfortable working with you? Yeah, you said, you like to be the quarterback, you like to facilitate. You're obviously going to hire the people around you, a team of people to obviously facilitate and lead them and guide them for whatever resources that they need. So what would an athlete coming out of college today, what would be their benefits to gaining your services as an agent?
I think above everything else is trust and the level of genuine care that I have for my clients. And I say that because I care more about them as human beings than I do as them as athletes. I want them to be amazing athletes. They already are, right? And I think a huge misconception is agents can get you drafted. Agents can help your
right.
career. Yes, we can help. We can get you in front of the right people. We can, convince scouts, coaches, GMs to go take a look at you. But if you're not a good athlete on your own,
Don't matter.
It doesn't
Don't matter what
matter
you're saying.
whether you hire me or somebody who's been in the business who's a male for 50 years. Like, you just are not going to make it, right? So you want someone who cares about you as a person and make sure that, I always say when I look back at my career, I will be successful if all of my players, 30, 40, 50, are successful. Because they use their platform for the short a period of time that they had it.
Well, what's that definition of success, though? That as former athletes, that's what we want to know. What can you help us with after we get done with ball? What's going to be successful at the age of 30, 40, 50? What does that look like?
And before you answer that, I have another point. Like, okay, you said trust. That's something that pretty much every agent probably uses that comes out of their mouth.
Right.
And obviously, I'm a perfect example, and there's been other examples of agents taking advantage of their clients. And I think the financial literacy is a part of them growing not only as an athlete but a business during their playing career. I think that's something that needs to be focused on. And sometimes, like I said, agents don't really focus on that. And so, not to say that but there's a number of agents that use that word trust. And so for me, I heard that so many times, like, oh, just trust us. We're going to do X, Y, Z. You go play football and we'll take care of the rest.
Right.
That was a big mistake on my part because I entrusted, just like I said, that my agent was going to do any and everything beyond my comprehension, that I would be, as he said, 20, 30 years down the road, that I would be solid.
Right.
There are a lot of guys, like I said, I'm one of those guys that falls under that category of trusting an agent, trusting a financial advisor, and being taken advantage of. Because, like I said, we have, he has a lot of students, athletes, or whatever that approach him about, okay, my kid is, going to be going into football, basketball, whatever the case may be.
Right.
They may have an opportunity to play at the next level. What agent would you recommend? What agency would you recommend? What would you say to those that basically have the question, okay, you can say, I trust this guy, or I need you to do this X, Y, Z. What I'm boiling down to is what makes your agency different, and to where your clients know that they're going to be taken care of, not from just, like you said, a football standpoint, because that's what we do. They should learn, they should know how to play football.
Right.
But the other elements that they don't know about is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and 100%. Like when I say trust, it's not necessarily, yes, trust me, but trust my advice and the people that I surround you with, right? Like, and trust that I'm going to educate you correctly. I don't do anything for a client without them understanding what it is that I am doing. And to your point about financial literacy, that's day one. Like as soon as they decide where they're going to go train after, they declare, step one is I put them in front of 2 or 3 financial advisors one of which I use personally and 2 others who I trust. It just so happened that I, was with the one first. And I let them sit down with all 3 and they make the decision, right? So I don't tell my players what to do, period. I will say, these are the people that I trust. If you want to bring someone to me, bring them to me and let me talk to them and kind of like, let me vet them out for you. But so when I say trust, it's more of trust that I will help you understand. One of the greatest, to date, one of the greatest moments of my agent career, I was sitting in a living room just like this at my client's house. He lives with his girlfriend who's very involved, and collectively we've started LLCs together. I do, that kind of stuff for them. She started a cosmetic business. And so I'm not just helping the client, I'm helping their family and who's important to them, right? Yeah. We helped this client buy a house for his mom, right? So very much involved, but also, so we're sitting there and his girlfriend asked me a question about your playing checks, right? You can get them to you personally. They're the only one,
deposit.
or direct deposit, but they're also one of the only payments that can't go to your LLC because these football entities aren't hiring your company, they're hiring you.
Right.
So unlike marketing deals that, okay, we can funnel that through your LLC, your player money has to come to you. And his girlfriend said to me, why are we direct depositing it to the financial advisor? And my client said, because that's what Kate told me to do. And I was like, it was one of the greatest moments of my life because he's in his 2nd year playing and he already understands like, I make enough money over here marketing. I don't even need this player check, right? We're putting all of this aside so that you don't see it, right? Because all of us, you look at your checking account and you see a ton of money in there. You can be a little more reckless than if you only see a little bit of money because you're not thinking, oh yeah, I have all this money to blow. Like you don't even see it. It's sitting over here. It's working for you. And so just little things like that I can teach clients that they can then learn and then they can teach their kids, the kids that they go and speak to at, whatever nonprofit they want to be involved with. Okay. So it's really, it's a teaching trust. It's not shut up and go play football. I'm going to handle everything because that's not me.
Type of trust.
Yeah, no, it's not that at all.
Well, again, so I'm a football guy, right? There's not too much I don't know from 1950-ish till now. Okay. Like I'm a football guy, right? Okay. So don't be, because he don't know nothing about ball. He don't know nothing. But again, let's take it to, if you want to call it the elephant in the room. Okay. Right? It's the older white male, which is every general manager, maybe one, is there one black general manager now? Maybe, right? Seeing this young, beautiful bombshell that I have to talk business with. They don't like that, obviously, right? We know that. Like, how do you get over that hurdle? Because you have to do business with them. Yep. You have the client, right? To you, the hard part was getting the client. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, like, I'm coming into the room, you better respect me because you have my client, right? So how do you get over that hurdle of look at me, you know, and let's talk business?
Aren't holiday meals the best meals, but only when you have the best meat? When you invest in high-quality meat from ButcherBox, the benefits go way beyond a great tasting meal. ButcherBox sources their meat from partners with the highest standards for quality. No more searching the grocery store for 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more. I'm a seafood guy and get my wild-caught Alaskan salmon, lobster, and scallops exclusively from ButcherBox. It's so dang easy. I get everything delivered to my door, and it's always fresh and delicious. I either fillet everything by myself after a workout or with the family when I want to host. Either way, ButcherBox creates a box to fit my exact needs. Every month, ButcherBox ships a curated selection of high-quality meat right to my home. Free shipping for the continental U.S. with no antibiotics or added hormones. This holiday, ButcherBox is giving new members 1 pack of bacon for free in every single box, plus $20 off each box for the first 5 months of your membership. That's free bacon for life and up to $100 off. Sign up at butcherbox.com/popcorn. That's butcherbox.com/popcorn.
So I have a mentor who, and again, when I say I took a non-traditional approach, I didn't go to an agency out of school. I went to a law firm.
Right.
And so I didn't get the training of being an agent because I thought I would better serve clients being a lawyer, right? So, but my mentor, who is an agent,
Hey, can you say who your mentor is?
yeah, so his name is Everett Glenn. He had players, Willie Galt, Clark
Yeah,
Kellogg,
yeah,
you know.
yep.
And when I met him, we first sat down and he said to me, you have 5 minutes to make the people that you talk to understand that you know what you're talking about. So
5 minutes.
5
Yeah,
minutes.
the first
5
five.
minutes. The first 5 minutes, that's
Absolutely.
all you have. So if you let them the first 5 minutes talk about, you know, you
Yeah.
personally, your personal life, this,
Then
that,
they
the
ain't
third.
even- yep, you
they're
gone.
never going to take me serious. He said, you have 5 minutes and you better know what the heck you're talking about. So before I even became an agent, I know the CBA like the front and back of my hand. Like I treated that as I treated studying for the bar.
Yeah.
So I would never be in a room where I was asked a question that I didn't know the answer to. Now, my football history is not going to go back to 50
Right,
years
right.
ago. But if you ask me something about the CBA, that I will know.
Okay, yeah.
And so again, going back to making it about business within the first 5 minutes, developing that trust, developing that respect, developing that relationship. And then, yeah, for sure. I mean, I know, you know, the coaches and the GMs that I know their families. I know about them personally, vice versa. But it's that first 5 minutes that you have to develop that respect. Else you're not going to go anywhere.
Absolutely. What do you know about the salary cap? And how would you learn salary cap? That's probably the hardest thing as an agent slash general manager.
is.
That's the where you lose probably 90% of people who don't love ball and know ball, that salary cap scenario. How'd you learn that scenario?
So again, I mean, it's studying the CBA and then it's going through exercises. But I will also say when I talk about a team, part of the team is the NFLPA,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You as players pay into the NFLPA. We pay into the NFLPA. They have experts who every day
Yes, that's their job.
do salary cap every day. So never have I negotiated a contract period that I haven't sent to the NFLPA and say, hey, can you take a look at this? Because why am I going to go again? Obviously, I'm going to do the work myself, but I'm going to cross check it with them
Yes.
because that's what they do
They've been
day in
for
and day
years,
out.
yeah, for
For
years.
years. Like, I have my MBA in finance, but every day I don't do financial planning. I don't do finances, right? So can I give you advice? Sure. Can I'm probably going to be, 90% right? Yeah. But it's not my area of expertise.
Okay.
So I use the PA all the time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of agents have, well, I won't speak for anybody, but I would assume some agents have an arrogance about them. It's like, no, like, I know this.
Oh yeah, agents walk around like they
know everything.
They are the talent.
Right.
A lot of them, you know what I'm saying? And of course, I think as athletes, especially when they're 20, 21 coming out of college, they want that. They look at that. They want the guy who has the suit on and looks like he's $1 million, the Jerry Maguire, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But then over
The
time,
snake
we
in the
figure
grass,
out, yeah,
Drew
we
Rosenhaus,
got.
Sport.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
not what we thought it was.
Right.
It's not what it looks like.
Yeah,
obviously.
and when I was in a transition period where my first 8 years, I had a small time agent, so like a mom, like a dad son type of agency, and I felt like I outgrew him. And then right when I separated and did auditing and things of that nature, found out that he had done some improper things, put me in investments that I was had no idea about, was not aware of, to the point that like. He was so invested with my family, like I said, for 8 years. You're around, my family like it's your family. Even when I parted ways with David Joseph, that was my first agent. My mom was upset because I wanted to, find a better
Because he's
agent.
family now.
Yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
and then I've had to make her aware that, once I did a transitioning of my financial portfolio to the new financial advisor, that's where I found out there were some improper things going on. Like, Mom, he did some wrong stuff. And it was upsetting, because it was such a bond that when I told her that I was firing him or whatever, she got emotional.
Yeah.
But I had to let her know, I'm like, yo, this is, granted, again, using this word trust,
Yep.
she trusted him to take care of her son.
Right.
Right.
So that's why, like I said, I ask those hard questions because I know I'm not the only one. There's going to be some other kids that are going to be in that same situation. They're vulnerable. They don't know. And like I said, what you don't know, you're going to depend on somebody else to kind of do for you unless you do the homework yourself. And so I was in that situation, and I don't want to see other guys get in that situation. So I know, again, great agent, great person. I would love for people to consider, not just for the
meeting,
optics,
not just for the
the
meeting.
optics of it, of just a woman in sports, but you have people that actually going to do right by you, as she said, educate you about financial literacy, mortgage, mutual, like stocks and bonds and things of that nature, you know, how to write a check, all these types of things. Like now we have like DocuSign and all these things. Some kids don't know how to do any of that. So
They're still 20, 21-year-old kids.
Right. So like I said, I want, these guys out here to consider, like I said, not just for the optics of it, but people that are really going to actually do right by you. So like, if I'm sitting up here endorsing, Playbook Sports, yes, I'm doing it because I know her personally. I know she's a genuine person, and just with what she's explained today, she wants to educate these kids. At the end of the day, they're gonna. You're signed to a team to obviously play a sport, play a position, do your job. That's your lane. But then it's not out of the realm of possibility that you can go into somebody else's lane and learn something on at the same time. So guys, moms, dad, aunts, uncles out there, especially a lot of the moms, because growing up in single parent families and households,
moms
usually
only.
it's the moms, that are still, in the household. Dads are nowhere to be found. So moms definitely vet out, the agencies, but definitely, like I said, women in sports, I encourage it. That's why we have you on the show today. But,
I mean, times are different, right? It's
that.
2021. Times are different. We're looking for, I guess, a different face of sports, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And again, not just female. It's it's your cultures as well. Right. So the second part of that, I guess to me would be a hurdle for other people looking at you. At it from your perspective would be the talent, right? How do you go look at talent? Do you have people you call, like, okay, it's a receiver, what's his attributes? It's a lineman, it's a center, it's a guard, like all those things. How do you really look and see what type of talent to bring to a sports
because I'm
agency?
sure as a parent, they're going to be looking like, well, what do you know about
what do you know about my
sport?
son? Right.
Yeah, just say
about my son's position.
Yeah, my son, But if you had a lineman, and most of the time it's skill positions that are, getting all the, the big bucks. But again, there are going to be other clients that need agents as well.
Absolutely.
It's not just your quarterback, your receiver, running back.
There's a lot.
That
53 players on one team.
That headlines the drafts. So the draft time. So what about these other positions? And that's a good question. How do you assess the talent?
Yeah, so, I mean, two things. It's funny that you bring that up, but I'll get back to that and say I am recruiting 2 linemen this year, if y'all are listening. I love you guys. So I don't just recruit skill players. A lot of agents do want to recruit skill players because of the marketing.
And the money.
Right?
The money is where the lineman, the lineman is where the money's at because they play for years.
Right,
They
but people
play
don't
longer.
think that.
Right.
You let them go get the flash and dash of the
exactly,
receiver. Go get the lineman.
And no disrespect, I do have a receiver as well, but I'm not, one position only, right? I really look at character. That's huge for me because, again, who you surround yourself is a reflection on you, right? So if I have a lot of clients who are out here doing the wrong thing, I would hope people are looking at me like, what are you doing, right? Like, what influence are you really having on them if this is what their day-to-day looks like, right? And I say it's funny about evaluating talent because on my way over here, I called one of my good friends who's a scout. And he actually said, they're going to ask you this. And it's crazy because...
He said we were going to ask you that? Hilarious. Smart guy.
He is. Yeah, I mean, he's been in the business forever. Great guy. And, it really is, it takes time to build those relationships. But I've gotten to the point where, and I hate to use the word trust again, but I have gotten to a point of trusting certain coaches, scouts, etc., that have consistently given me the right information. Like I do my own evaluation. Like I am a football head. Like I love football. I know a lot about it. But again, I don't rely on just me. So if I see a player, I will call a scout or a coach, depending on their position or where they're at, and in terms of location in the country, what school, etc. And I will ask their advice. And again, when you're talking about people being genuine and honest with parents and players, a lot of people in this business will tell you whatever you want to hear. They will tell you that your son's going to go in the first round. They will tell you that your son is going to lie. And they will say, "Oh, I talked to so and so. I talked to this coach."
Of course.
First of all, coaches and GMs are not out here telling
They don't
us.
tell you. Just listen to this, everybody. There's no the offensive coordinator for the Patriots did not say your son was going to be a first rounder.
They
don't talk like that.
First of all, half of them don't even look at your son until the season is over, when they start evaluating and assessing players. Like right now, it's area scouts out looking at players, right? So all of this, oh yeah, so and so said that my son was going to. Okay, that's great. Let me tell you what I've actually heard, right? And I always say to parents, I say, if someone told you that, get that GM on the phone. Tell that agent to call that GM who he is so close with, and ask him on speakerphone, and watch how quickly he says, "Oh,
I wasn't saying that exactly."
What I had said was right? Like at this point in the year, coaches and teams are giving players grades, but they're not draft grades, And so it's a lot of smoke and mirrors in this business.
Absolutely.
And so I try to be upfront. I've lost players over telling them that they're not going to go as high as they think they're going to go. I haven't really been off far yet. Okay. And then you see those players kind of come back around, right? Yeah. Because they were sold the dream. The dream did not manifest.
Of course.
And now they're like, wow, maybe Kate was telling the truth. Yeah. Maybe I should circle back and kind of see, like, all right.
So what about those players that circle back? When you try to, put, everything out on the table realistically for them, but like you said, somebody else is, selling them a pipe dream.
Right.
And have you had any to circle back around?
I have had a couple circle back around, and I will say I'm an emotional being. So at first I'm mad. I'm hurt. I am hurt.
You gotta take your emotions out of it.
Right, but that's part of the learning of women being in sports. Like, oh, they're too emotional.
Yeah. Right. Which, I think it's a blessing and a curse. I will say that in terms of our emotions, because again, we do care, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I have to keep my feelings that are hurt by you ghosting me because so-and-so told you were going to get drafted higher. I got to put that to the side and go back to, okay, I did really like you as a player. I do really like you as a person. Everything I said still stands. So, I'll never tell a player to change up their, but if they want to, I'm, of course I'm still gonna be here because
what you do, you're still a professional.
Right. Yeah. And, as you guys know, recruiting is a long process. Like we start developing relationships with players, sophomores, juniors, especially now with NIL, like we're in there for.
That's well beyond me. I didn't really establish an agent till, I think it was after my senior year, closer to like when the draft time was approaching. Yeah. And then my roommates, they were annoyed at me because I started getting calls like all throughout the day and the night with different agents. And they were just like, hello. They was like, man. They was like, literally calling, just ringing the phone off the hook. Yeah. And then I had agents that had some professional players call me to tell me to kind of vouch for them or what have you. Yeah. Man, so as you said, like I said, it's a long process, but like I said, I wasn't one of those guys that, figured or thought that I was going to go in the first or second round. I went to a small university, so I just wanted an opportunity at that time. So again, those are the clients. Do you look at, obviously there's a number of Power 5 type schools and those guys that go to those, the athletes that go to those. I mean, what is the feeling? Is it like a dream of yours to have a number 1 draft pick or a top 5 pick to be an agent? Like I said, obviously, like I said, you're not really getting the respect that obviously, like I said, from an optics standpoint, just women in sports, and now you're in the agency business. Is that sort of like is that like something that you strive for to have like a top 5 or top 10 pick?
So I will say it used to be. I used to think, okay, if I get that first rounder, if I get that top 5 pick, I will be respected enough that the next player will give me a chance.
Opportunity, absolutely.
So there is still a piece of that.
Right.
But now to even compete in that sandbox it is highly competitive.
Very.
And again, I think it's more than I'm willing to sell a player. So if I have the opportunity, of course, I would, obviously take up that opportunity,
Right.
but I don't seek it out anymore
Right,
because
so you're not hanging your hat on that for
No.
right at the moment. But
No.
if the opportunity
There's another
arises,
250 picks.
right.
right. And I mean, in my experience, the third, fourth, second rounder, they
Still
last
gonna be the
longer.
free agent deal
They
in 4
still
years.
exactly.
Because
And-
we were we fell into that third
Yeah.
to seventh
Yeah.
round picks
Yeah.
or whatever. Because I was
Yeah.
a third round.
I was 7th round.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, for me, when I tell people I was third round, I was like 2 picks from the 4th round. I was
Right,
third
right,
round,
right.
89
Almost
picks.
fourth pick,
So
yeah.
technically, I felt like I was a 4th rounder. You know what I mean? So that's a feeling like for me when I was drafted that late, because I was at some point I was projected to go once I did individual workouts and improve my stock status and my draft status, going through playing in some bowl games. I
Yep.
went to the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
Again, that's when people was like, "Oh my God, he's better than
Right.
we thought."
Right.
Stock rose a little bit.
Yeah.
So prior to that, I was probably projected to go maybe 5th or 6th round. I didn't know anything about the draft or anything to that degree. I was like I said, this is all like 1st or 2nd round. You're gonna get
That's it.
paid a lot of money.
Right.
I already knew I wasn't gonna be in one of those 2 rounds. So for me to say that I was drafted in the 3rd or 4th round, whatever, him 7th. That's how I felt. I felt like a 7th rounder because I felt
And
like
it makes
I
you
had
hungry.
To go, right.
It
I had to go
makes
in
you
there-
hungry.
I had to go in there and prove myself.
Exactly.
So now you have guys, like I said, wherever you have them drafted, there are other elements
Yep.
to what they're experiencing now. This year, these kids have the opportunity to make money.
Yep.
You have the NIL. I hear you're big in that. I know a couple of your clients that you mentioned, obviously running back Zach Moss, Buffalo Bills. You have a
Yep.
receiver. He was at New England.
Yep.
But
Daz
what
on
are
the
you,
Bears, too.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So what are you doing now to help these kids? And like I said, there's a lot of things that you can't just go sign. These guys can just go sign with anybody.
Right.
They have to understand the terms and conditions of NIL. What
Right.
are you doing to
NFT.
educate? Yeah, and NFTs factor in that
Yep.
too at some point.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of education because NIL is so new. I think the NCAA rolled it out way too. I mean, it was too slow, but by the time they said go,
Yeah, there was 2.
Nobody
it was
catch up.
too fast because
Yeah.
nothing was
Yeah.
nothing was really set up. Like they took forever, and then within 30 days, they're like, okay, everybody just go. So now
Right.
it's like the Wild Wild West,
Yep.
basically.
Right. Yep.
And it's confusing for guys, and it's distracting because
Very.
I think it's amazing that players can now make money off their name, image, and likeness.
Yes.
Right. But at the end of the day, you are here to play your sport.
Yes.
Right. So if you do not excel at your sport and you're too focused
You're not getting
on
paid.
your local whatever deal, that really at the end of the day, in 4 months when you get drafted, that money is not going to matter to you.
Right.
You
Well,
gotta
I'm going to stay on that topic right there again. So there's a guy at Oklahoma,
okay.
right? Big name, future NFL guy,
Yep.
was up for the Heisman.
Oh.
And now he's benched. What does that company do?
Yeah,
Because that's I'm saying that's the whole issue with this whole NIL deal.
Right.
Because again, they're signing these kids 500,000, whatever it's going to be, because he's supposed to be on the field at a Pac-5 playing in big games on Saturday,
Yeah.
and now he's benched because is this kid out celebrating and enjoying this 500,000 and forgetting that it's really about football.
Exactly. And I tie that to sometimes the first, second rounders because it's almost this concept of I already made it.
Yeah.
But you have not made it yet
You ain't
because
did nothing.
your career is your sport. You're not building a career in marketing. I mean, if that's what you want to do, by all means, like go a different path, but then you lost your platform. If you lose your platform, you lose your marketing deal. So let's get back to the basics.
There it is. Here's a player, right? You played 15?
15.
How many times did you watch the NFL draft after you got drafted?
I don't even.
Never,
I don't
right?
really think I
Now,
watched
here's
it, to
the
be
issue.
honest.
What
I don't,
you're
even
talking
before I
about.
got drafted, I never really watched it.
So here's the issue. On draft day, what you're saying, they're made to be these superstars. One
Before
through
they're
30
superstars.
They haven't did anything.
Exactly.
But ESPN
before-
is using this platform and they red carpet and they get out of Ferraris and they take helicopters
Making
and they're
them
doing
bigger than life
And you
this
haven't
is
played yet.
at all. And that's before NIL. So imagine
Yes.
now. But before NIL, you are preaching to the choir because I get so mad when these players who have not played, who were not eligible to make money prior to like January 15th, which was 3 months before, are pulling up in Rolls Royces.
Right.
Have millions of dollars of jewelry on them. And so back to where I started of the influence that you have on society and young kids. Now you have these young 7, 8, 9-year-olds who actually do watch the draft,
Right.
who are like, oh yeah,
That's what it's about.
that's what I want to do because now I can go buy cars and jewelry. Like this is the wrong message.
I agree.
So if I'm ever blessed to be in the green room, and it might happen next year because I got a player.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
all right.
it might happen.
Okay,
And-
pop the collar then. Hey, you see him watching?
She said, I might
Well, you know what? We'll speak it into
Put it-
existence.
Exactly.
We're not gonna
Exactly.
be
But-
we're gonna
but
speak it into existence.
He is of the character that I have no doubt that he will show up
Not
in a
worried about
professional suit and project what it is, the hard work that got him there. His family will be in the room. You won't see the flash that is
not
like
about that
It's
day.
not. It's not.
About
It's
having a career.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's good, like I said, it's nice to dress nice and present yourself. Just like
yeah.
going in for an interview, you know what I mean? You don't want nobody to take you, not seriously because you're dressed a certain way. That's something that comes with, becoming a professional athlete, presenting yourself, if you're interviewing for a job. So to your point, this is exactly what these guys need.
They need somebody to tell them like it's not about that.
Right,
I know you think it is.
That's gonna come. I mean,
Right.
honestly, that's gonna come with the territory.
Yep.
But as you said, I mean, it's so crazy because it was almost like at one point in time when as the season, I'm talking concussions, they were highlighting all the hits.
There was
glamorizing
a tape called Crunch Course back in the day.
Man, I'm talking about that's what the media
What it was
does.
about.
They kind of glorify and
Yep.
they highlight all these things that are really kind of bad for the game. You know what I mean? Like what I was alluding to with the concussion and the hits is that they're trying to cut down on concussions and obviously bring about football safety, but until everybody started saying something, they were leading into the season with all these crushing hits, boom, boom, boom.
What it's
That's
about.
the highlight reel.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So this is, like I said, it's what's needed. I applaud what you're doing. You're standing tall for the women that are obviously, like I said, that are striving to be who you are. They need to be more. I know there are some women, obviously, a couple of them in the NBA, women agents, and so what you're doing is obviously, like I said, it's well beyond what I would have ever thought or saw when I was getting into the league. And like I said, just going back to what I experienced, if I could do it all over again and understand it like that, now there are women in sports, I would strongly consider that based on what I've been through.
Yeah, because you're really emotional like a female. I get
That's fine.
That's why he
That's
would
a sign of a good man and a man that can wear his emotions on his sleeves. I mean, I'm not afraid to do that. But at the end of the day, I do have a backbone now. There's nothing wrong with a little tears here and there. As long as you can back them up.
To speak on that too, I think what is becoming now more prevalent is mental health.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Part
I
of
think as a female, I hope my clients and my potential future clients are more comfortable coming to me because they don't have to be as manly around me, right? I hope they feel comfortable coming to me and saying, I'm going through something. I feel like I need to talk to someone. There's never going to be any judgment from me. I mean, I see a therapist once a week sometimes, sometimes once a month, just depends on the schedule.
You might want to get her number because you need to see a therapist, bro.
And there is nothing wrong with that, sir. And there is nothing wrong with that.
Right, you might need to go see a therapist.
And
man.
so, but these conversations, when we normalize them, they become, these men aren't bottled up and like so afraid to express emotion. And it's not just like, oh, I have to be this football player who has no emotion.
Big, rough,
no,
tough guy.
yeah, no, you don't have to do all that. You have to do that on the field. I don't want to see you
gotta
like
learn to separate the two.
Exactly. And they are two different things. You are not just a football player. You are a man. You're a father.
You're a human
You're a
being.
son. Exactly. And
Number one.
so I want well-rounded individuals and not just these football players. I mean, we got comic books and superheroes for that, and so There needs to be more men who are standing up on their platform as professional athletes, but they also speak on all these other things that you need as a person when you're done playing. And it starts now.
I agree.
I want to segue. I mean, this is a tough thing because I just thought about something. This is tough for me to bring up. Obviously, there was a situation with Henry Ruggs. Obviously, killing someone, going at a high rate of speed. Now, like I said, you got kids that are, they're obviously going to be vying for your services. What do you tell your clients, and then obviously even future kids that are, that obviously you may be representing about situations like that, and how can it be prevented? Obviously the league itself, we have programs for, and we have coaches, and we in the locker room, trying to be a responsible adult. Don't drink and drive. They have programs,
phone numbers and all this.
They have programs where, okay, if you're feeling you're too intoxicated or whatever, call this number. And again, we have Uber, you have Lyft, things of these nature. What can you do as an agent to obviously prevent, things from happening, to some future clients?
Right. I mean, first of all, that situation is just obviously horrible. Prayers go out to everyone, and we can only hope for the best for everyone, right? But I think part of it is this sense of a God complex, like almost too big to fail, right? I can drive a sports car, I can drive drunk, I can do all these things, and because I have this complex of I'm invincible, and maybe I don't feel comfortable calling a teammate or calling the hotline because, man, I don't need that. Like, I got this, right? It's being comfortable enough and self-aware enough to ask for help, whether it's from drunk driving or something you're going through personally. It's just having that awareness of it's okay to ask for help.
Isn't what you're saying, tell me if this is your perspective, what he's saying is you have to already be recruiting that type of person. You can't turn that person into a self-aware person.
Right, something that he's
right. You're already looking at that person's character then, basically, before that happens.
I do focus highly on a player's character, highly. I think I don't want to be judged by what I did at 18 because, obviously I would make different decisions. But I do feel as though my values were what they are today. And although I might have stepped out of line here or there a couple times, I did respect the people who were telling me what I should be doing.
Because the hardest part about that is, don't forget, you're getting them at 21, 22, where they don't even drink, right? They haven't been to a club. They don't even have girlfriends, maybe had one girlfriend in college or something, right? Now at 26, that whole thing changes. That whole picture changes, right? Making millions of dollars, maybe started drinking, maybe started smoking, whatever. But they're a whole different person, right? Now, from your perspective, are you also trying to play that role as a, keep them in line type of role?
Yes.
Not mother role, but again, you can't still get on the other side of it because there's danger on the other side of career
because
ending
you're part
incidents.
of their part of their lives on an everyday basis. You know what I mean? You're not their mom, you're not their sister, their aunt. But again, you're somebody that's aware. You're responsible. You know what the dangers that lie ahead. And I think what's unfortunate about this is that someone lost their life. There's a 23-year-old girl that lost her life.
And preventable. That's that's
was
what
on
makes
her
it,
way home. You know what I mean?
That's what makes it
And
really,
an animal. So it's just like it could have been avoided. And so like I said, my heart goes out to both, but just the girl that lost her life. I mean, her mom, her dad. I mean, her family.
Her family.
That. It could have been avoided.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and to your point, that's part of the work that we do throughout the career. I mentioned about with finances, it's not living this lifestyle as if, this $1 million is here today. It's not going to be here 10 years from now. This is not a steady income, right? And just because you're now in the league does not mean you need to start acting like what you're perceived these professional football players or basketball players are doing.
You don't need to live up to the
live up to the hype. But it also starts with professional athletes doing the right things and the media focusing on those right things. You don't see as much about the guys who even here in LA or in South Central. James Harden was just here not too long ago painting the side of a building with a bunch of kids.
But you don't see that on
The only
ESPN,
reason I knew about it is because I saw a friend on their personal story. You didn't see that on the media. right? These things aren't as public because it's not
what
what
they
they want
wanna
to
perceive,
portray.
yeah.
And that's also part of the reason why athletes are kept in a box, because the media wants people to think that athletes are over here, they play their sport, and then they do all these not so great things. Like, why aren't we promoting the good things that they do, right? And making that the cool thing to do. Like, as soon as players start,
Okay, so why aren't we doing that? Why are we not doing that ESPN? Why are we not doing this NFL Network?
Right, exactly.
Right, somebody's got to start answering
Fox
this question.
Sports,
Or
they're highlighting all
people
the negative.
Right, or
Right.
people who have clients, you guys have to start saying, my clients will do long as you guys cover this
Right.
in February when
Right,
they
it
go
should-
to.
that should be,
like
yeah,
that's got to
prerequisite.
start being some of the conversation.
Yep.
Because they're not doing it at this time.
I agree. And, I can only do what I can do, right? But again, just
I'm
like
putting it
me,
all on you.
All on me. I'll take it. But again, if I can show 1 or 2 or 3, and then they go show the masses, right? That's when it starts to change. It's going to be slow, but I think if there's enough of us doing it for the right reasons, and to your point about, following these players around to do other things besides their sport. We were just in Buffalo not too long ago, and Zach went to the Boys and Girls Club and spent the entire day there playing basketball with them and going to their individual classes, and the local Buffalo News picked it up. And so we're trying to promote those type of things. And, I was just watching the Steeler game last night, and Najee Harris, they had a nice special about him and what him and his mom are doing
Bay,
for their community.
Absolutely.
And so it's things like this that we need to keep pushing into the media, even if it means our clients aren't getting paid.
Right.
And that comes from the agent too, because we still need to work if it doesn't come with a check.
Come on.
So
Which a lot of them will not.
Will not.
If my client's not getting
If money,
250
then
racks, I don't want to mess with this deal.
Yep.
Come on, agents, got to do better than that.
yeah, and that's why I never focus on the marketing, because I do have a law practice. I don't view being an agent as a get rich scheme or to get a percentage from my players. Like, I do fine over here. What I want to do is help them, help improve their lives, improve their families' lives. And, everyone said money will come. Stop chasing money.
Right,
Everyone
right.
needs to stop chasing money. If you really care about your player, go do things for your player that does not put money in your pocket.
Come on.
Okay, speaking of that,
So what do you want for your agency? Do you want to be like one of the top agencies in all of sports? You want 100 clients? You just want that sweet spot of like 20, 25 clients and doing the right thing for all your clients?
I want the sweet spot. I don't have any desire. I've never gone to work at a big agency. I've had the opportunity. Nothing against them. It just is not me. I want the hands-on. I don't have a huge team. We have a team of probably 5 or 6. We might be up to like 7 now. Not all agents, but people who, work for us. And it allows us to be involved. It allows us to not have the players calling, a travel agent. They're calling me, or they're calling somebody else, and just little things like hand touches that we can. I just helped a client and his girlfriend buy a car the other day. I was literally on the phone with a dealership 3,000 miles away. If I have 50 clients, how am I doing that?
Right.
So I want, 2-3 clients a year, max 15 to 20 clients.
and what advice would you give to younger females, young girls that look up to you as a woman doing what you're doing to become a female
sports
agent,
agent,
in this profession? Because, like I said, we're all role models to someone. You know what I
Right.
mean? And again, like you said, when it becomes not becoming a tagline, it will be something great. But for right now, it's good for what is needed. So for some little kids that are watching the show, moms, dads, whatever, that may be sitting here watching, what would be your advice to a young little girl that's an aspiring agent?
Yeah.
Agent.
Yeah, I think number 1 is become an expert in your field. Period. You need to know your craft. Any job you're going to have, you need to know your craft, whether that's on the football side, whether it's on the legal side, or if at least knowing who to present your client to, right? So become an expert and make sure this is what you want to do, right? Because there are so many perceptions of what an agent does that could not be closer or further from the truth.
Yeah.
Make sure it really is what it is you want to do, and it fulfills you, and it's really, your purpose, because it is a incredibly tough business. Like, thank God one of my girlfriends who was in the business I was out 2 years ago. I was out. I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. And thank God for her. I mean, she literally was like, no, Kate, you're not quitting. Like, we need to do this. We're all doing this. We're in this together. I'm here to support you. And so I think women need to continue to support other women, along with our male counterparts. But, we really need to be there for each other and become experts in our field, be experts in our field, continue to demand the respect, and really just do things the right way. Because I think in society, if I mess up, y'all are going to talk about me way more than you would talk about OBJ's agent, right? If I do a bad deal, it's going to be a headline.
Of course.
If a male does a bad deal, and I can think of a whole bunch of them that have happened lately, they don't call out the agent.
Right.
You can call them out if you want to.
No.
So there it is. So tell everybody where they can find you then, Kate. Like in Twitter, IG.
I need to get better on Twitter. But my IG is Ferrara 4. My Twitter is, I should probably figure that out. It's something I will. I think it might be the same, actually. Playbooksports.com.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. This was great. So
there it
thank
is.
you.
Kate Ferrara. On Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast.
Oh, and best believe I had my popcorn
I need to
Ready.
try some of this.
You dig? Peace. See you next week.